Is 9/29, 2025, 5 p.m. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. Joe is excused. Supervisor Johnner's excused. He's on site with a project that he's working on.
Reyes here.
Jones here.
Church here.
Leonard here.
All right. Clerk Buchanan, have we satisfied all certification of compliance for open meeting law?
Yes, we have.
Okay. So what this discussion is about pertains to 4 board meetings this summer. 1 to discuss it, 1 to enact an ordinance, and then 1 to discuss it again, and 1 to enact that ordinance. And after David Brettel, PAA, came in and gave their presentation, there still seemed to be some confusion, and I thought, why not? We have this meeting tonight. Let's try and put it to bed and be done with it. So there were a couple of things. I think we can kind of go at it one at a time. The 220-040, let me pull that up, is the first one on the agenda. We can talk about that. This all pertains to pretty much how the board communicates, how we develop an agenda. That's what all of these ordinances are about. So here's 040.
So the only
Yes,
thing,
sir.
the only thing that's different on this is we were just adding the East Troy Emergency Services District.
We did that at the last meeting, so that's done.
Okay.
But it isn't updated on the website, so I couldn't get a clean copy to
And
bring
it's
to this
on this
meeting.
copy, yeah,
So,
number 4.
right,
If I may,
go right ahead.
we might want to make one final amendment to this to include, rather than having a separate agenda meeting, like was discussed on
Right.
that video,
Right.
add a new item for future agendas or items that don't make it onto this one timely. Have another option to discuss items that are going to go on a future one.
So that is 050, is it not?
No, that's still this one, isn't it?
Still this one?
I think what he's talking about is after, before we review bills for payment, we add another letter
To
that
discuss future agenda topics.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
Yes.
suggesting? I mean, I'm
Oh.
okay.
So,
Go ahead.
so then are you saying because it's in the consent agenda, then you would have to pull that out?
No.
To talk about it?
This is completely separate.
But
So, and maybe Joe, you can help assist here. I recall being copied on correspondence from Carol at the Towns Association, and with respect to the not wanting to have a walking quorum. I don't know if it dealt with that issue or the blind CC or something else. There was a suggestion that to avoid that, we can put on our current agenda, future agenda items to rectify that
So there were,
situation.
I see what, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. It's not in the consent agenda part. It would be another line item in the agenda that would open us up to be able to discuss
Yes.
after
future items.
special and
Okay.
pending meetings, we would discuss future items.
right.
And if that's after public comments, if something comes up during public comment on any given month, maybe the board will agree to take it up the following month, because they can't do anything with it that meeting.
Sure.
So there's a couple of elements to that piece. There is language in the ordinance today, is that in this one or the other one, that says any supervisor can put something on the agenda?
That's
Right.
in a different one.
That's in 050. Okay. So let me just explain maybe in a big picture view, and then we can discuss on the specific ordinances. There's an ordinance that states that anybody can put something on the agenda.
Any supervisor.
Any supervisor. The state statute, if I'm not mistaken, is the chairman has final say on the agenda, aside from any ordinance that would tell different.
Chairman and clerk.
And clerk,
both
right,
agendas.
right. The two of us and has been the three of us.
Right.
Up till now, that's how it's been working. I think it was 2 years ago or whatever, it got changed so that any supervisor can add something to the agenda.
Right.
Which I think I'm personally in full support of, especially in the spirit of transparency. What I don't understand that needs to be explained or we need to sort out here is why are we approving it if there's no ability to take it off the agenda for good reason? That's one. The second thing is I can choose to bring in my roofer and say as a supervisor, I'd like my roofer to speak for a little while. It's not pertinent to town business, or if it's in conflict with an agenda that already exists. Those things seem to be germane to taking it off the list and at least discussing it in the future.
Right.
So those are the things that I think I said in my memo, good judgment. I don't want to define good judgment in an ordinance, but we do have to exercise good judgment when we bring something onto the agenda. Yes.
So don't we have the option to vote that off the agenda?
You do the next.
At
that
when we
meeting,
approve the agenda.
Like
yeah.
if somebody, like you said, wanted to bring their roofer or whatever, something, then we're all like, what is this about? Don't we have that option at this point right now? To just say,
You do.
we're not gonna listen to this, or we
You
don't.
do.
And we would do
Right.
a vote on it, and then,
Yeah.
You do.
okay.
But what has then happened is someone has been told they could speak. They have now come to a meeting, taken their personal time. They think they're going to speak, and now you tell them they're not going to speak. It seems not very transparent and considerate of their time.
Right.
That's the reason why I think this
But-
should be discussed in some other way. Or we, at each board meeting, we have agenda items that are discussed and we decide collectively what gets put on the agenda for the next meeting. That's, which is what you're suggesting. At the end, we would discuss what would get added to the next meeting.
But it does. I
Certain
don't think it
items,
has-
not an
it has-
entire agenda.
Not the entire agenda, but items, whatever items would be brought.
Right.
So Supervisor Church, what?
I just said that I don't think what you discussed, what we discuss in the new item, if it's added to the agenda, I don't think that limits what can be put on the agenda. It's just one venue to use.
I did-
I agree. I agree. It doesn't have to appear on future agenda topics as a prerequisite of getting on a future agenda. Other items can still go on a future agenda, provided they come in, there's a memo explaining what the rationale is or the purpose, and the board approves it at the board meeting night.
Oh, are you saying if we add this extra point on the agenda, discuss future agenda items, then we have to have all of our supporting documentation already?
No.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I mean, maybe we don't need to add that.
I would like to think that it was added a couple of years ago because the supervisors are all elected and responsible and understand their duties.
Right.
And can add something to the agenda. And then as Tyson mentioned, and I think, Dave Brettel mentioned at our meeting, if we don't agree at the meeting, someone can vote, suggest removing it from the agenda and have a vote, and then the board decides.
And maybe, I mean, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like, I think, like you said, we're all elected, we should know what we think is gonna be discussed and not discussed, and if you are bringing that person in, just say, hey, I just wanna let you know, it could get voted down before you're even able to speak, and let them know that.
Right.
Because if it's important enough to them, I think that's feasible, right? I would think if it's important enough to come in here, hopefully, we all have enough sense to.
Warn them ahead of time, prepare
we
them.
would- Right, to warn them, and we would really think, I mean, I know if I'm gonna put something on the agenda, I hope that it's good enough that everybody wants to hear about it, but.
Well, and I think the important thing is, we said that you have to include the memo with it when you request it to be on the
Right.
agenda. So we can all, and we were BCCing everyone so we could all understand and prepare for those agenda items.
Right.
I think Gene had a question.
So I don't know where we just went. We sort of talked about a lot. Go ahead, Gene.
So, to kind of bring it all together, have at the end of the meeting, before where Jim had said to place it, agenda items that a supervisor might like to bring to the future meeting. Then by the dates that we're gonna probably talk about, you have to submit the documentation. I'm in the process of creating an agenda rationale memo for each of you to use that outlines you need to include this, this, and this. And there might be one bullet point, there might be none, but you say, that way it's kind of the same format. And then once the agenda is, the packet's ready to go to board members, because there's gonna be the board member packet, as there always is, and then there's the final packet. The board member packet will include those rationale. So when you see that at the beginning of the meeting and you wanna adjust the thing, you already know why that supervisor brought it to the meeting. Does that make sense? And then you can vote it off or leave it on the agenda. So,
Would those be in the public packet?
no, well, unless you want them in the public packet, but they would definitely be in the board member packet. So you know at the beginning of the meeting what, like Michelle brought, I want to do this. I think this is a topic to discuss. This is why. The board members are aware of what it is. And they know at the beginning of the meeting.
Could you add a line for public or not for public? So town board only, public,
Sure, on the template.
that way when they come in, we know which way they're going.
I guess my concern is that I don't think we're gonna have all of them the month before, right? And there are gonna
And
be
you're
things
not.
that come
No,
up
I don't think
No,
you
you don't
have
need
between
to.
now and then,
I
yeah.
don't think you have to.
But
You're
I
gonna
do-
have to have
one
them
thing
done.
that could be an option.
I do like what Attorney Mills said was if it's something that's come up in public speaking, a lot of times I know that I will forget about something that's brought up in public, I'm sorry, but, because if there's so much, if there's a 2-hour public speaking meeting, but that night, if I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I want to talk about that. I do like that option, that you could bring that up later in the meeting and say, oh, because this person brought this to public comments, rather than, forget about it, and in the future, that poor person is like, oh, they didn't listen to anything I said. Well, that's because we had 2 hours or 2.5 hours of other people speaking afterwards that it kind of got thrown in the middle of it. But that's my 2 cents, I guess.
Well, and to Supervisor Reyes's point, what's at the end of a meeting when that discussion for future agenda items comes up? It's things that might have come up, such as through public comment, what have you. But there might be something that you find out at a meeting or you hear about before you have to have your documents in for the real actual agenda. You can still bring that up. It doesn't have to have been discussed at that prior board meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not a condition.
Correct.
That's not the only time.
Right.
Right.
You have up until that Tuesday at 8 AM before the board meeting.
With your documentation.
Yep.
So we have talked about a lot of things. There is, any supervisor can submit any topic by Tuesday morning at 8.
Tuesday morning, the Tuesday before the regular town board meeting, 8 AM, no grace period
With a
Correct.
memo.
With a memo.
with the
That's
memo.
correct. Now you have, Clerk Buchanan and I talked, and it looks like we might be talking about doing a review of that agenda Tuesday afternoon, is where we were thinking.
Unless, like this coming one, I won't be back in the office till Wednesday morning.
Okay,
Yeah.
but when you're back, Wednesday,
Yeah.
then we can do it.
Yeah.
So now, let's just stay with that element of all this. So now something's on the agenda. It got put on the agenda on Monday. There's some discussion that concern that it shouldn't be on there or whatever. We want to take it off. What allows us to take it off? Would be the clerk, me, and you, right? That's what's going to happen with that agenda at that point. Otherwise, why are we approving the agenda? I just don't fundamentally understand why I'm approving it, if anything can go on there. The two instances that did come up that I did pull off, one was a direct conflict with a public comments statement we made on the agenda that said no wake vote comments. So it's a direct conflict, and I would have 50 people coming up to me saying, well, if they can speak, why can't I speak? It didn't make sense to put that on the agenda. The other one was a group of people that wanted to just tell us what's going on in their organization, and there was no real meat behind it.
It wasn't town business.
It wasn't
for
town
that.
business, right. So
But
what allows us to take it off the agenda? Otherwise, let's not have an approval. I don't need that time.
I see what
No,
you're
I-
saying,
I-
Sue. Go ahead.
can I answer
Yeah, go ahead.
what I think?
Sure.
Was this group of people brought to you by a town supervisor? Or was it brought to you by the group of people?
Oh, that's a subtlety. I think the request came through Clerk Buchanan for this group to speak, but it wasn't town business. It really wasn't direct town
Right,
business.
so my point is, a town supervisor didn't put that on the agenda,
Okay,
right? So there you can approve to disapprove that. But I think what the ordinance states is if a town supervisor puts it on the agenda,
It
then
stays on
it
until
stays
the
on
board
agenda.
meeting when the board
So
as a
what-
whole
what
votes
you're-
on that agenda.
I think what you're able to approve is everything else.
Correct.
So essentially, what Chairman Jones is saying, why does he need to do it? Why can't Clerk Buchanan simply create the agenda if she has the documentation by 8 o'clock Tuesday morning with your memos and so forth? You'll get those by Wednesday noonish. You then, at the board meeting on Monday, are able to say, I would like to have this item removed from the agenda. Is there a second? And then you guys discuss it and it gets removed, just like.
Joe has to because it's part of his
State
duties
statute.
as chairman.
Well, and isn't some of it about the order of the agenda too and making those adjustments? Because you do have the liberty of adjusting the order, and I think that's what you're agreeing upon, is
that's it?
how it's laid out.
Because it's
right?
not very clearly laid out in the ordinance or the statute.
Well, it kinda is.
Kinda
This
is?
Gives you what an agenda is supposed to look like.
Oh, you mean in our ordinance?
Right.
I'm talking about in the statute.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can, okay. Again,
Just statutorily, the chairman has to approve the agenda.
it's a requirement, I guess. And that's, okay.
So there, do we put in supervisors, reasonable, I don't know, or pertinent, or relative, or I don't know.
Again, what I talk
I
about
don't think there
is-
has to be any changes, quite honestly. I watched the video. I don't think we need a pre-agenda meeting. Supervisors are allowed to put stuff on.
Yep,
The board as a whole is allowed to take things off. I don't understand why we need to do anything different, really.
So we're okay with somebody coming in thinking they might speak and then we take it off. That's kind of where everybody's at, so.
I think I'm okay with, I mean, if I'm gonna bring someone in, I'm gonna let them know it is possible that the rest of the board members could,
Okay.
you know.
Me too.
Vote to
Say
table
this.
this.
But they should also know, whatever group is coming forward and wanting something on the agenda, if it's not town business related, it's not going to go on the town agenda. Put it on your own agenda. If you want to
Yeah, I-
discuss updates or whatever.
When I think of agenda topics, I don't think of bringing in a speaker.
Yeah.
I think of things that we need to discuss and decide on.
Right, so.
Now, I don't know what the clerk gets for emails. She might get emails that we don't, you know, like you're saying, this group of individuals that want to talk about that. To me, that's your job to approve or not approve. But if I
Right,
put
I
something on the
think
agenda.
you're gonna have to share those instances with the chairman.
You know, isn't the reason this happened was because, when did this change? Was it a couple of years ago? Or was it just
Yes.
last year?
When the supervisor could put something.
23, I think, yeah.
Yep,
It was, okay, because there was a couple times with the previous,
I think
Chairperson
the old
we got caught
wording
off
said
Right.
a supervisor may put something on the agenda, and we changed it to shall be
shall
allowed,
be allowed, okay.
if I'm remembering correctly.
So, do I need to make a motion to put this agenda?
if we're gonna leave everything the way it is,
Are we gonna add?
That line.
I don't
item.
even know if we need to add the future agenda stuff.
Get your memo, Jim.
see
I would think that the board member, if something hits them during public comments that they really have a concern or issue with, that board member would remember to jot themselves a note and.
It's easy to jot yourself a note, but a month later not find your note.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
asking a
I thought you
lot.
From
guys had
experience.
A packet.
You're asking
and
a
you could
lot
look
out of
through
me.
it. Yeah,
From experience.
There is a video.
There is,
That's
there is.
this,
2 hours.
this whole thing became an issue because I work like crazy to put all my memos and agenda topics in by Tuesday at 8 a.m. And then I don't hear anything about this until Wednesday afternoon at earliest is where it's been typically. I get thrown an agenda to approve, no memos attached, nothing to, if I'm the one generating, you can assume I have the memo. But if I'm not the one generating it, then I need a memo to understand why it's on there. If it has a memo and the memo doesn't make any sense, I guess it's not my judgment to take it off. I guess it's to bring it to the board and let the board, and I can offer my commentary at the beginning at the agenda setting and say, I really think this should be off the agenda, and we take it off at that time.
Well, yeah, because every board member is entitled to have separate opinions on something. So if
Sure.
it might not make sense to you, it might make sense to other board members.
I hope that's the way it goes.
So,
Yeah. Okay, no, that's good.
So,
Yes.
just to summarize, going forward, memos, a template will be delivered to your mailboxes via email. You will have your memo with your board agenda item in by the Tuesday at 8 a.m. before the meeting. And then packets will be distributed. And please, if you're emailing stuff in and not dropping it off, which is standard, CC both of us. Because if she's out and I'm here, if I'm out, she's here.
right. And that's like the Todd Jones for the management district. I never got that stuff. Jean got it, but she was gone out of town. So it just, yeah,
With-
that's why it has to go to both of
With the
us.
consent agenda, I think we discussed putting out a reminder, an
Yep, I'm
automatic
gonna be putting out
reminder.
reminders for everybody, so
So
you
it's-
know that you're gonna get a reminder.
It was a change, it slipped through the cracks, I think we got a corrective action.
Well,
So-
and with his, well, there was a whole thing with his, it wasn't formatted correctly.
Uh,
But regardless, then you have those to us. Kim and Joe are gonna meet on Tuesday afternoon.
Or Wednesday,
Well,
depending on schedule.
In the plan, it's Tuesday
Yeah, and then you
afternoon.
guys will get your packets by end of day, like Wednesday at the latest.
4 o'clock Wednesday. That's the goal.
And one thing that was said by David Brettel in this presentation was the supervisor can pick up the phone and talk to the chairman about this, so he's not blindsided on Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday. I would recommend that you please feel free to give me a call and let me know what this is in advance of Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday. It just makes it an awful lot easier for me to try and consume all this stuff, while I'm also trying to run a meeting and put my own agenda stuff on. I have not gotten a lot of communication. There is a group, we'll talk about it later. Generally, my view was to try and use BCC on this to send in your agenda topics with your memo, put the board on it so they know that's going to be coming in the packet. We're not discussing it. And I guess Supervisor Church does not like BCC. So what I'm going to recommend is either copy me straight up or call me or something, because it's not working. I am having a very hard time pulling this together
Well,
at the 11th hour.
part of the problem is, and I might be getting ahead of myself, in the past, my position has always been, do not use blind CC. It just invites a walking quorum. You got one opinion from Towns Association. Barb got a different legal opinion from the same outfit. That's happened to us before. Two people have two different legal opinions. As long as the board knows, whatever they see in a memo can't be discussed, in and of itself, blind CCing someone is not illegal. It's just not. But if transparency is a goal, why don't you just flat out CC people instead of blind CC people?
And I'm
Because what
okay with
happens
that.
then is they reply
If you
all.
reply all, then.
And then it does
Don't
that.
reply all.
Right.
Right, but even if you reply all and we're on BCC, it doesn't go to the people on BCC.
Right, that's why.
I see.
That's
Okay,
what
it's just
the
an added
advantage
level
is.
of protection.
Right,
Correct.
right, to mitigate that risk.
Yes.
Yes, Supervisor.
And it was always taught to me that we needed to go through the clerk because she was keeping records and she needed to know what was being talked about and being discussed. And that way she was looped in, which is why I have sent all my memos and anything else that needed to go to the clerk.
And that is really nice as long as the clerk sends it out to all of us. But that hasn't been happening. I'm just telling you, this is being discussed right now, and we're gonna discuss it ad nauseum until we walk out of here clear. Because I'm having a hard time holding this all together and get business done at the same time. We've talked about this now 4
Yeah.
board meetings. 4 board meetings.
If I understand correctly, what happened last month or with your agenda item is
It's happened twice.
nobody, I'm only aware of the one time.
It was left on the other time, okay? So it only happened once.
I wasn't aware that a memo had been submitted. I was under the
I wasn't
impression.
either.
Okay.
That's my point. We either need to communicate, or we need to establish something here so that I know I'm going to get the information.
Right.
Whatever
But
it
I
is.
think the purpose of, or the rationale for not putting it on last time was twofold. Part of that decision was because a memo had not been submitted, and then I later found out Supervisor Church actually did submit a memo with it.
I later found out also.
So that wasn't a a valid reason to keep it off. And I know that was a factor that went into that decision. So yeah, you're gonna have to
That's why.
submit
copy us
memos,
both. Copy us both.
4 memos to Joe and I guess, if I'm still looking at agendas.
That's why I like the idea of the BCC. Everybody has it. And then, and maybe just confirm, but I would think that if the chairman sees it when I send it to everyone as a BCC and has a question, he could call me for clarification on the agenda topic. And I could let him know why I think it's important and why I think it's a business decision in order to determine if it should be on the agenda.
And I did try a phone call. I think she was out of.
I was out of the
pocket,
area.
Right. So it didn't work in that case, but we could have had a conversation the week before because the memo was dated a week or a week and a half before, so we could have had a discussion when the memo was created. It doesn't.
Well, that's assuming the memo came in when it was dated. It might not have been submitted until, that Tuesday.
No, it arrived a week ahead, week before it was due.
Right, I would assume you wouldn't send an email.
I mean, technically, they don't have to send their agenda item with supporting memo until that 8 a.m. or whatever.
8 a.m. on the Tuesday
Yeah.
before the board meeting.
I mean, they could send it at 7:59 if they want.
They can, absolutely. That's not.
So with regard
As long
to
as
the
it has the
BCC
memo.
issue,
Right.
Supervisor Church is not comfortable sending BCCs. She has received them, and I believe Supervisor Church, you're willing to receive them, but you're not comfortable sending them. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
So you could funnel anything that you would like distributed to the entire board
Through
through
us.
the clerk and myself.
And then
And
we
we'll
would,
disseminate it as soon as we receive it,
to the board, other board members.
and then everybody will have it. Does that sound acceptable to everybody?
Yes.
Why doesn't she just provide it to the chair?
Just communicate.
Because
with
then
me.
the clerk doesn't have it.
Well,
clerk
the
doesn't
chair-
have it for the agenda.
The clerk and the chair.
See,
The clerk, the deputy clerk, and the
Yeah.
chair.
Yeah, that's fine. Clerk, chairman, and,
Deputy, deputy.
Before I became chairman, I spent 3 years in the audience watching this happen. And I watched eyes rolling back in their head, wondering what it is we're voting on. They had no information. They were given no advanced discussion. They had no idea what they were coming to talk about. How can that be transparent and effective? It can't. So one of my main missions is to fix that.
I always, in every instance, have provided a memo and documentation as to what I was asking the board to do. I went so far as to include what the motion should be until the Towns Association said, that shouldn't be written out until you are at the board meeting. So yeah, I did do all that, and I still do that.
I didn't say you weren't.
Right.
Yeah, we
Barb
didn't
was
get the
pretty good.
agendas until Monday.
What I saw was the previous chair would come up with what was the last bit of spending for ARPA. Comes in, shows up on the agenda. He's got tons of ideas of what to do with it, and everybody else up here looked blindly like, what? I wish I would have known about this. I would have come with some ideas. So it just went down one path. That's not transparency. That's not educating each other. We don't have to have business discussion, but we should at least know what's going on. I don't know that that is illegal. So that's why this has been discussed for 4 board meetings, is because we're trying to put a process in place that allows everybody to know what's going on. We get a complaint or something from a citizen, that shouldn't be forwarded out to everybody so all board members know about it? I mean, we're not saying this is how we're going to fix it. We're just saying you should know about this. We got to deal with this. It hasn't been happening up till I'm trying to do that right now, and that's where some of this BCC stuff is coming in. I was going to write a procedure of how to use it. Now, I'm okay if we want to use some other method for doing this, if we want to CCC and expect everybody that they're not gonna reply all, and we're okay if somebody makes a mistake, okay, that's fine. I'm looking for foolproof ways to communicate, not conduct business, and try and come to these meetings knowledgeable enough to conduct business. So that's the main reason for having all this discussion right now. So if you feel we have everything here, I think what I am going to do is I am going to summarize my understanding of us leaving here, because I need to have a communication. I can't operate in a vacuum and then approve an agenda. I'm just not going to do it. If that's my job, then I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to approve it unless I know what it's there for and what we're going to try and do. The other reason for trying to know what is coming in that agenda item is it might be beneficial to suggest that maybe additional research be done, or maybe I got to do some research or whatever. And each board member would have the ability to do that. If you don't know what's coming, you can't. So, with regard to 040 and 050, we're okay.
I think we're good. Without any changes.
And so, are we, I kind of want a roll call vote on, are we all clear on how we're going to communicate with each other going forward?
No, I just have one question. Now,
Sure.
you don't want us to BCC our reports, right? Just like if we're gonna put something on the agenda, right?
Right.
I just wanna make sure that.
I've had people bring, I had a multi-use trail situation with the village, right? I had citizens come up. I think you guys needed to know about it.
Yeah, no, I just wanna make.
So I BCC'd that
Yeah,
out to you, so you
understood.
knew. I-
But Tyson, you're just asking, like, your.
Like my fire report,
district.
you don't want me to BCC that, right? You just.
No.
Okay,
That-
all right.
That's standard.
Yep, okay, I
This
just
is
wanna make
stuff-
sure.
This is stuff that is not on this
Yep,
list, I guess.
understood,
Right.
understood.
It would be not on this list.
Right,
It's
anything
new
that you want to
business,
add that's a separate.
Gotcha.
Old business. Right. So, so are we in agreement and understand how we're gonna communicate with each other so that this agenda process can become a little more streamlined?
I am.
You are. Supervisor Church, are you?
Yes, sir.
I'm good.
Excellent.
As long as I can continue to use BCC if I want.
You can.
Okay.
I was,
I would just add,
I have a disclosure in my
yes,
signature.
just add that
Yep.
reminder on those as well.
Yep.
And then all
It's
agenda
automatic.
items and memos come to the clerk and the deputy clerk to be forwarded, to be placed on the agenda, and make sure that all of that is going to each board member when that agenda is presented.
the main reason for not emailing each other is to conduct business. If I say, we're gonna add this to the agenda and I'm gonna vote this way,
You can't do that.
That's a
you
problem.
can't do that.
Yeah.
But if it's to convey the multi-use trail information that was just presented by the village and I got a couple of citizens, that's information.
Yeah,
It's just
throw that out as BCC.
knowledgeable information, no conducting of business. So, all right. So then, I guess the question I have is there any reason I was trying to pull up my,
The agenda, it just says discussion of these ordinances.
yeah, I know, it doesn't say discussion and possible action,
Well,
so.
the line at the top says everything is.
All
open
items
for
are open.
So it could
deliberation
be
and
for
possible
possible.
action.
So if we need to, we can.
Yes.
040 and 050 are fine.
Whenever we use the BCC, it's just a discussion.
That's at the end here.
Yeah, it's not-
I was kind of just going down my list here. So the next thing is the 075 ordinance. when we spoke, we updated to stop public readings of amendments, not full ordinance, not new ordinances. Is that correct?
No, I thought we were just stopping the reading of new ordinances.
Okay, so what about amendments? We're going to still read them?
I think you should read amendments and ordinance.
Is that in 075? 'Cause-
It's not. It just talks about new ordinances.
So where
But I
I was,
suppose it can apply to amended ones as well.
the whole point when we talked about this was way back when there were no packets. So that means citizens did not see any information. They never saw the ordinance. They didn't see any drafts, nothing. So therefore, it was reading it out loud so that they could understand it. And he did that, I think we decided to do that twice, 2 months in a row, to make sure that they had enough time, that they weren't out of town or something. So in that spirit, we said, we got packets now. We don't really need to read them anymore. They have them. Another debate was on whether it was 3 months or 2 months. So the point is, if we bring something to the board to, let's say, 075, I want to modify that. The board votes during that board meeting to modify or not modify,
Authorized.
and authorize Attorney Mills to draft. The next month, the attorney brings a draft of the ordinance or amendment to the board. So that's one board meeting later,
Which would also be in the packet.
which would also be in the packet, and the public would have a copy of. So then, we leave that noted, and then we wait till the following board meeting to then adopt it.
Correct, because the public would have access to it 2 months in a row.
Correct. That was the spirit of what we wanted to do, make sure it was available for 2 months in a row in the spirit of the old way of reading. And so in that way, it would be authorize, see it, and then the next time, they would see it again, and it would be voted on, and then it would be enacted. So the only question I had in this was, how do we lump amendments and new ordinances? Because I think a comment was made that when we did this, I go, what? We're still gonna read amendments? What's
No,
going-"
this section only deals with new ordinances. Not only is it in the title, but also that's what's required under sub 5, which is being changed.
Okay.
I don't think we
'Cause,
need.
yeah, it was
to-
new, it was new ordinances.
It was new
so-
ordinances only that we were reading.
So what
So it was
happened?
like the container thing coming out of nowhere. We didn't want that to be done like just in 1 month and decided, we wanted.
But we're still reading amendments.
We don't have to.
Well, that's
And
what
it doesn't have to go for 2 months.
And it doesn't
An
have to
amendment.
be in an ordinance
Right.
that we're not reading it either.
Okay, so it's just,
If you don't want it read, and it's not a new ordinance, it won't be read.
In the spirit of retention, you know, as a teacher, you remember only 25% of what you read. You remember 50% of what you, 25% of what you hear, 50% of what you read and hear. But you have a much greater than 75% of retention if you hear it, read it, and see it. So, I mean,
But these are going in the packets now, even the ones
I
with just
understand.
amendments.
I'm just saying that as an educator, the 3 modes of retention is hearing it, reading it, seeing it. So,
What's the difference between reading and seeing?
well, yeah.
I think I'm missing, oh, writing it is the
Yeah.
other one.
Reading
Sorry.
and hearing.
Is it our obligation to read it? I mean, if somebody needs to hear it, if somebody needs to hear it, couldn't they have somebody read it to them? So, is it subject to us to do that? Yes.
Instead of reading, could Jim summarize? Do like a brief summary? Like, we're adding a stop sign on Miramar.
This is my summary.
It's dangerous.
So I think
It's
what
not very long.
I know.
And it's all italicized what's being changed.
Right.
So I think what happens though is, like you said, the process is first we authorize, we have the change and we authorize you. So then I think when you bring it back, we still discuss it. So that's hearing it and understanding it and confirming that that everything is there. And then the next month we approve it, just approve it.
Well, an amendment doesn't require 2 months.
Right.
It doesn't.
But a new
Does not.
ordinance, right. But at least we're discussing it and talking about, okay, this is what we intended, looks like everything's covered, this is why we're doing this. We have that discussion.
So in dealing with amendments, we don't have to have it in writing in here? It's fine?
What do you mean?
We have to have it in
That-
writing.
have to
How
have
we're
it
gonna
in
handle
It would still be in writing because you still have to
No.
sign off on it.
You're
No.
saying how we handle
in the
amendments.
ordinance, does it have to be discussed in the ordinance how it's handled?
No.
No.
Okay, so
No.
then it's just up to us. And we're not, and so again, it's not in an ordinance anywhere that we're not gonna do it twice, 2 months, right?
Right.
It's just, we're making that decision here. So I mean, is everybody, I guess.
Yeah, we have a new ordinance, a new ordinance. We don't have an amended ordinance.
Yes, I agree.
And I think we can keep it that
I
way.
don't want one. I just want to make sure we're transparent, everybody knows what's going on, and
Can I make a motion to accept this?
yes, I guess we can. Well, do we have to do anything at this point? It already exists.
Oh, it already exists, okay.
So, so do we need board approval to say we're not going to read these amendments anymore?
No.
Or should we just go ahead? Just understanding from this meeting?
I think the board can decide at any given meeting whether they want something read or not, if it's
Okay.
an amendment.
Okay.
And these we already did, right?
I believe, yes. These were read in September.
Yeah, if we're leaving them all set, it's done. It was done in September.
Okay.
So the only last item on that main agenda item was whether or not to write a procedure of how to use BCCs or CCCs or how to communicate. I mean,
Do you really need that?
No,
I'm asking.
It sounds like we're not in agreement, so.
I say no.
Okay. So,
I mean, every board member can have their preferred use of how they want to comply with the memo portion of the agenda.
yep.
They may get it twice then,
That's fine.
but I'm just saying. But I think that the chairman's also talking about more than just the agenda items. Like when a board, say Michelle gets, Supervisor Reyes gets something from a constituent, a resident, to share that concern with the board, she would maybe BC that email with the board. Hey, I got this from
Right.
John Smith, he's concerned about these speed bumps on his road. I think everybody should be aware
Yeah,
of it.
I agree.
It's not necessarily an agenda item, so she may choose to BCC it.
Well, yeah, if someone reaches out to a supervisor and says, just so you know, I'm
Yeah.
going to blast the, police department because this happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
In my public comments, you might want to know ahead of time and,
Right.
maybe safeguard or have some sort of
Your professional
Response.
colleagues, yeah.
How is that communication done for the last 5 decades? How does that happen? Does people just pick up the phone and call?
I don't think it was happening.
Well, I know
No
it
town
wasn't.
business is supposed to happen outside of a meeting, period.
If,
But it's not business, it's
not business,
communication.
So it would be brought, I don't, Chairman.
That- This is a
If-
fundamental issue.
if
Really.
if a resident complaint came in, if it had to do with, a branch in the road, it would get sent to Todd, and Todd would deal with it.
Right.
No need to involve the board, no need to inform the board.
Right.
It's being a branch removing from the roadway. If it's a complaint about something that would need to go to the board, I would forward it to Chairman Clarkowski, and then it would go, he would put it on the agenda if it needed to go on the agenda, or he would reach out to the resident and have a discussion with them to kind of come to some.
See what,
But the
Yeah.
piece that was left out is, he never communicated to the rest of the board members.
And we got
Most-
the agenda
most of
on
the time.
Monday.
And the agenda just
Well,
showed
the
up
Friday, you always got it on Friday. You didn't get agendas on Mondays. You got them on Friday, the weekend
a
before.
weekend before the physical meeting. It
Right.
just isn't conducive to productive meetings. It just isn't. That's why we need to have some means of,
Well,
so then,
and like I've said many times, everyone is entitled to their opinion. State things as opinions. What might not seem productive to you might have worked in a different setting. Everyone's entitled to do things the way they want to do them. So,
And we can't change the past.
right.
I'm not trying to change the past, I'm trying to change the
Well, we
future.
are a little bit.
Oh my
How can
gosh.
we change the past?
We're trying
Let
to
me say
change
it
the
this
thing,
way.
the way things
Every
are done.
chairperson
Going
has
forward.
the ability to run the meeting the way that
Yeah.
they see fit.
Right.
If that includes different procedures,
Hell,
that
yes.
means there's going to be different procedures, period.
so any board member that's comfortable with BCC topics,
Use
feel
it.
free to continue. If you are not, send it on to Kim and I. We will
And the
forward it.
chairman.
And the chairman.
If you want to send the chairman too, but we will then forward it on. If you don't get it back, it didn't get put on, call us. And I don't mean on, I mean it didn't get forwarded on to the other board members.
To you, because we would, like, say, Michelle, you sent something, if you didn't want to do the BCC, you sent us something, we would send it back out to everybody, and if you didn't get it back, then you know that we didn't do what we were supposed to do. And
Give
you'd
us
be
a call,
like,
because
hey,
maybe we didn't get it for some reason.
can you please forward that on to the rest of the team?
But in the past, for the last 5 months, I've seen yours go in with a BCC, and I had a heads up on what you were submitting. I only saw it coming back from the town on Wednesday, I saw an agenda on Wednesday, and I saw it come in on Thursday or Friday.
So you're
That's-
saying that
that's
just
where
because it's
it's
only
been.
coming to you, you don't necessarily know that it went to the entire board?
No, he's saying
Oh.
he needs to see the memo before he can approve the agenda.
Oh, absolutely, that's already
And we
what I
know,
feel.
we've already decided
But
that.
what I'm saying is, hers has gone out on Monday. I BCC'd, so I heard it through her, that this is what it is and this is the memo.
On my attachment, yep.
But the first time I saw it from the town was in the packet that I got.
Right,
Not even
but
with the
that's not
agenda.
happening anymore. That,
Okay, but
Yeah.
that is the crux
That's over
of
with.
why we're talking.
right.
Yeah, that's
So-
over with.
I just want to
And
be clear.
agenda items again, 8 o'clock Tuesday morning, they will be processed, they will be part of your agenda packet, so you may see it twice. But if you are BCCing a citizen complaint or something other than that agenda topic, and you're not comfortable BCCing, send it to us. If you don't get it back from us, you're gonna know that we either didn't get it or we didn't do anything, because I have a town board group that I forward things to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. All right, anything else with meetings? We are all clear. My goal was to leave this room so we never discuss this again. I don't want to ever discuss this again.
I think we share that goal.
Yeah, everybody, I'm sure everybody does. Anything else before we move on? Okay. I don't know when our union,
6 o'clock.
oh, he's supposed to hear 6? So we could go into closed
Yep.
session right now, or?
Yep.
I saw Pat walk in, but I don't know about the representatives.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we can definitely go to close now.
So then, we have two items that we're gonna go into closed session about. Pursuant to 19.85, statute 19.85, sub 1, sub C, we're gonna negotiate employee contract for the police union. And then we should be getting an update on the pending litigation.
That wasn't noticed.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
It's not
Says it right on
Right here
here.
on the agenda.
Discussion on pending
Point 8.
litigation.
Oh, it is on there.
I was
No.
very confused what
That's
that
been on
was.
there.
I assume
No.
Attorney Mills put it on, that's why I,
No,
I
that
didn't even know
was,
we were having a meeting today.
so.
that was an error on my agenda that got approved.
Oh,
That wasn't so good, Brian, that's why.
It shouldn't be this hard.
I thought we weren't having.
I knew you would have
pending
caught it,
litigation.
Jim. No.
That's when I saw that, I'm
No.
like,
So,
what?
okay, well, we can just not discuss it then.
No, we can discuss it. I do have an update
Okay.
Okay.
that I
No,
can.
no, I
Hold
have,
on, we need to
I have
do
to
a
do a
roll
roll
call.
call vote. I'm
We
just,
need a motion and a second.
I know that. I was trying to just explain what we're going into closed session for.
Yep.
And I
Yep,
said pending
that's number
litigation
4.
and everybody had a canary, so. So now I need a motion to go into closed session.
I make a motion that we move to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85 sub 1 sub C to negotiate an employment contract with the police department union.
Second.
And
Okay, what?
And to discuss.
and
Any
discussion on
discussion.
pending litigation,
And-
right?
And discussion on pending litigation.
Yes. Okay, any other discussion before we vote? All right, roll call vote.
Reyes, aye.
Church, aye.
Leonard,
Jones,
aye.
That's fine.
Leonard, I.
And Johnner is not present, so it's 4.
I do want to state for the record that the discussion on pending litigation would have a separate and distinct exception reference in statutes.
Oh,
However, because that is a widely known and recognized exception, the fact that we don't have it listed per se, that statute item on here doesn't mean we can't discuss it, in my opinion.
Is it 19.4?
Oh, no, it's still
No, it's- it-
19.85.
It's just a different
Sub-
subsection.
Sub 1, sub 2?
yeah, we're in closed session, I think.
You adjourned to closed session, you have not adjourned to it, you
Oh,
voted.
didn't I? Oh, I didn't adjourn.